So, you've built a .NET Core app. That's awesome. You know, getting it to work is a huge win, but it's really only half the battle. The other half? Making sure the right people can access the right things. Today, we're going to break down authorization and roles and turn what seems like a really complex topic into a super simple step-by-step guide. Let's dive in. Okay, picture this. Your app is live, it's running smoothly, users are loving it. But wait, can any user access every single feature? If the answer is yes, well, you've got a security gap. And that's not just a small problem. It's kind of like a ticking time bomb. But don't worry, today we're going to diffuse it together. All right, first things first. Before we can start building a secure app, we've got to get our definitions straight. We need to understand the ground rules, starting with the big one, authorization. Now, it's super easy to get these two terms mixed up, but the difference is absolutely critical. Authentication is all about who you are. It's like showing your ID card to a bouncer to prove your identity. But authorization, that's about what you can do once you're inside. It's like having a special key card that only opens certain doors. Today, we are all about that key card. So, to put it simply, authorization is just the process of checking if a user, who we already know is legit, has the right permissions to see a certain page or click a certain button. Think of it as the gatekeeper for every single piece of your application. So how do we manage all these permissions without driving ourselves completely nuts? Well, we use roles. A role is just a simple label for a group of permissions. So instead of giving every single user a long, complicated list of what they can and can't do, we just assign them a role like admin or user. It's a huge time saver and it keeps your security setup way cleaner. Okay, enough with the theory. Let's get our hands dirty. It's time to actually set up these rules and tell our app exactly how to enforce them. It all kicks off in our app's main configuration file, which is usually a file called startup.cs. And it really boils down to 3 key steps. First, we have to turn on an authentication service. Second, we define something called a policy. Just think of it as a named security rule. And third, we tell that policy what it needs, like, say, a specific role. And here's what that actually looks like in the code. Now, don't worry too much about that add authentication part for now. The real magic is right here in add authorization. You can see we're creating a policy, we're calling it admin, and the rule is incredibly simple. It just says you must have the admin role. And just like that, with only a few lines, we've defined our very first security rule. So we have a rule, which is great, but a rule is totally useless if there's no one there to enforce it, right? We need a bouncer at the door of our app to check everyone's ID. In the world of .NET Core, that bouncer is a special component we build called an authentication handler. And its job is pretty straightforward. For every single request that comes into our app, it takes a look, figures out who the user is, and then assigns them the correct roles. So what's actually happening inside this handler? Well, it might look a little complicated, but it's not. First, it grabs the user's login details from their request. Then, it creates a sort of digital ID card for them. In .NET, this is called a claims principal. Then comes the most important part. It stamps that ID card with their role. For our little demo here, we'll stamp it with admin. And finally, it gives the user a success ticket telling the rest of the app, hey, this person's good to go. And this one line of code right here, this is where the real magic happens. New claim, claim types role, admin. This is the exact moment we attach that admin role to the user's identity for this specific visit. This is the stamp that our application is going to look for. All right, we've defined our rules, And we have our bouncer checking IDs at the door. Now for the fun part, the final step, applying the lock and actually protecting our app. So have a look at this. This represents a part of your API, what we call a controller. And right now, it's just an open door. Anybody who knows the address can walk right in and see everything. This is what we need to fix. And now, check out the after. With just one single line of code, we've turned that open door into a bank vault. That little piece of text you see, authorize roles equals admin, that's the lock. Now only users with the admin role get a green light. Everybody else, access denied. Here's how that looks in the real code. By adding that one little authorized attribute right above our controller, we're basically giving the .NET framework a direct order. We're telling it, hey, before you run any of the code in here, stop. Check the user's ID, and if that admin role stamp isn't on it, you turn them away. It's an incredibly simple yet really powerful way to secure your code. Whew, okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from big ideas all the way down to a few lines of code. So let's just zoom out for a second and wrap this all up with the key takeaway. You know, it really all boils down to this simple, repeatable pattern. First, you configure your rules in one central place. Then, you verify each user's identity and assign their roles every time they show up. And finally, you protect your sensitive code with a single simple attribute. If you follow this pattern, you are going to have a robust and secure application every single time. So there you have it. That's the core of how you secure your .NET Core app. You now get how to define the rules, check the user, and apply the lock. It's a clear, powerful process. The only question left is, now that you have the keys to the kingdom, what part of your app are you going to secure first?